because you're watching part 2 of me where Nika talked too much in their first video. So let's continue.
AKA mimosas. Mimosas and writing. Who knew that, like, getting us in this...
winning combo.
Yeah, like, oh god, we're not going to talk at all about that. Now we're going to talk for like 3 hours about this. This is the best combination ever.
Alright, back to you, past selves. I very much admire how much you write and explore.
I feel like I should write more, she says, drinking.
Mimosas, though, it's fine. It's safe.
Writer juice. Brought to you by writer juice.
Let's cut that. But I very much admire that you write all the time and try to explore new things. Most people will be tempted to stick to their strengths, which is good to help them, but you, like, explore new genres and things. And I just, like, wanted you to talk about a little bit about how you find time to do all this.
I don't really know. Like, there is an element of comfort in the writing that I do, but I always think that there's something that I haven't tried yet. And it's just this endless curiosity that I have about writing. But trying new things is how you learn if something else makes you happy. In the same way that, like, if you have opinions about what kind of coffee that you like, you prefer black, but that's not going to stop you from trying a different kind of coffee. Knowing what you like is pretty much one of the most valuable things that anyone can know about themselves.
That's good. Knowing what you like, I think that's huge.
By the way, I told you.
I saw you guys and you guys were like going nuts, and I was like,
I'll try to, like, slow down on this little
hell no.
I'm beating both of them right now.
But it's interesting because it kind of, like, if you have something physical or tangible or visual, like a tinkerer, or let's say an artist, like a visual artist, you have any unfinished products you have, or any ongoing projects, you can see. Like imagine the Inventor's Room, and there's, like, all the stuff that's, like, in progress. Whereas people see writing that's not done as abandoned, I feel.
I would like to interject about that because yes and no. I think that, and I think we touched upon this a little bit earlier, which is we are very visual as people, and, like, humans themselves are visual. So it's a lot easier to see your progress if you can actually see how much it is. That's why NaNoWriMo was actually so awesome and popular, is because I got to see exactly how far along. In fact, if I just had one of those word count meters...
And, like, those are so great.
They're so great, because I just got to go, oh man, on that day, did you see 7K? I wrote 7,000 words, but it's this big!
Why do we only use those on NaNoWriMo?
No,
I don't use them all the time.
I actually have an interjection about that. I'm going to use that to lead
everything.
Interjection. I'm going to tie it all in. It's going to be great.
Okay, we got this.
Oh shit, no. What software do you use? Because I used Scrivener for NaNoWriMo, and it does have the word count. You could set that program. It's like a little setting that you put.
Yeah.
It tells you if you reached your goal that day. It makes it orange if you're almost there, green if you're there, red if you're really low.
We focus so much on the visibility of what we're doing and working on. And, you know, that happens especially for writing because you can tell, like, 5 pages down, oh, hell, I wrote a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
But again, you can't tell the exact quality of it versus looking at something
right.
like, oh, I made a plushie. And I can tell because it has everything but the button eyes, but it still looks like a plushie.
Right.
With my writing, I tend to use, like, nothing in particular.
You write notebooks?
I actually don't do longhand. I suck at longhand.
Apparently Tarantino writes longhand for screenplays.
A lot of people do, actually. Neil Gaiman does the same thing. I have always been a typing kind of person, so it keeps up with my brain synapse, like, just way easier than me writing it down.
With you, yeah.
So I tend to use, actually, of the two things, Google Drive.
Oh, cool. You use Google Drive to, like, write your actual... Oh, that's awesome.
Which actually kind of sucks in a lot of ways. You know, I have my Surface tablet, and I'm using that in a browser, and it actually, it gets to be kind of a resource sink. So it's kind of a resource hog in a lot of ways. But it auto-saves, so always back up your work. And if you can keep backing it up, then that's even better.
I think that's also a huge thing to give to aspiring writers, like as a point. Like, always save
your work.
Oh my god!
If you don't save, like, please save and then go back and save different copies of your work.
Yeah.
Same thing with video editing. Like, I have at least 5 copy of this kind of file just to make sure that if something screws up, I don't lose 5 hours of work or 7 hours of creativity. It's not something that just happens once. That will happen so many more times, and every single time you're just like, I thought I was smarter than that.
Do you treat your writing the same way that, like, we treat sort of, like, film footage or something like that? Or, like I don't know, rendered layers like a video game? Where you're just like, this has to be on 2 hard drives or it doesn't exist. Like, that's, like, the rule on set. If you treat your writing like that, because I think we're really flippant, we're just like, we wrote it, I wrote it, it's in my head.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's
it's
7 hours.
But do you know how often you forget, like, what you had for breakfast? How are you going to remember?
Exactly.
All the time. Oh, Kat is so mad that I'm here. Kat is staring, going like...
He's like,
He's staring lovingly. He'll come in.
Sorry, cats. Cats are like... distract me during anything. It could be open heart surgery, and I'll be like, motherfucking cat!
No, that's a bad thing. Okay, so actually to bring it back to writing for a second.
Yes!
I write at home a lot, and that's actually super difficult for me because I have a cat, and she comes and she lays on the keyboard and is like, don't work on things.
Yeah, love me! And you're just like,
Yeah.
I do, just not right now. That's actually why I can't have a cat, and I've thought about this before because I love cats so much. But it's one of those things where it's like my entire life and livelihood is minimizing distraction. So what I have to do is be really, really careful about controlling my environment to make sure that worry and stress is really minimal, and that distractions and in general, like, you know, things that might be too enticing to prevent me from, you know, writing or creating is also kind of minimized in a lot of ways.
I actually like a little distraction around, but not a cat on my keyboard.
Or preventing, right?
That's active prevention. The distraction that's too much is like to clean up the apartment or do laundry. So I like to go to a cafe and have people around me, or I like to write outside and have nature around me. A little bit of distraction works for me, but I know like you guys are more like evening, like nighttime writers.
Yeah, we like our
insomnia
space.
writers.
I like consuming stuff outside. So when I tend to like, I love actually going out to read. But when it comes down to the actual creation stuff, again, it's minimizing the, oh, look shiny kind of portion of my brain, which is most of the brain.
Well, here's my argument usually for writing outside or I read the library, but I don't have their Wi-Fi password, is because it like prevents you from going onto Facebook.
You know, I am a Twitter person. I've never actually thought about these things, so this is coming out in like the most grainy, raw, or kind of way.
Raw, exclusive.
Yeah. Twitter became my mere social interaction for that day, right? Where these are my friends, these are people, this is input into their lives. I love seeing it, I love hearing from them, I love talking to them. Until I realized that it didn't make me feel that good. So I literally just put this sort of like Twitter nanny thing on.
Yeah, do you have one of those programs that like block you out of, like, you tell it a site that you don't want to go and it blocks it so you can write?
I do it actually where I can allow for certain periods of time every certain hour. So I'm just like, okay, 10 minutes every 3 hours. It wasn't really a distraction so much, it was actually a negative influence in my life because the inspiration was really good, but for the most part there was a lot of that negative stuff where people are just kind of, here's something I'm bitching about, and I'm just like, well, I ain't gonna tweet about it. If I'm mad about something, maybe I should just write something about it, or I should create. I shouldn't just bitch about it.
I like to pull up Ion 9 because it's an interesting collection of like science stories, science fiction stories.
Yeah.
And then like just general like, you know, comic book news.
There is the difference between inspiration and distraction.
Right.
And if those work, then that's fine, but there is a thin line.
Wow, okay, we are still talking. So if you want to go ahead and watch the third part of our conversation about writing, go ahead and click the annotation right here.
Here?
And
is it here?
Yeah,
Here.
right there.
Poke.
It will be. We will see you in that video.
Mimosas.